Ready?
Yep.
Alright, yo, what's up, y'all? It's Jermaine Dupri, and since day one, you listen to Day One Radio. It is what it is. The mayor, the motherfucking ATL in the building. Holla!
The business.
Welcome back to another episode, another installment of Day One Radio, right here on ABLradio.com. That's Art Beats and Lyrics Radio to be exact. Make sure you download the very free, the very accessible smartphone app for your iPhone and your Android devices. My name is Maurice Garden. I'm one of your co-hosts, and to my left I have
Nathan Graham at Mad Fresh Daily, madfreshdaily.com. To my left is
Fresh out of South by Southwest, man. Fresh Daily
South
over
by
there.
Southwest, still have sleep.
And this is the world famous BP, Brandon LSK. How y'all doing?
I'm doing good, man. We got a very, very, very special guest in the building tonight, man.
Oh, for sure, most definitely. From opening up the Fresh Fest back in the day to bringing us Silk Times Leather to Crisscross, Escape, Bow Wow, Jagged Edge, Anthony Hamilton, Bone Crusher. So many more to DJing all over the world right now.
He gave Little John his first job, too.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Back in the day, man, those was my CAU days. I remember that, boy. Man, very happy to have in the studio the one and only Jermaine Dupri. What's good, brother?
Yeah, what up? What's going on?
Oh, man, good. Glad to have you, man.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad we could work this out, man. I think all of us being, journalists have probably talked to you at one time or another. I think you were indirectly, partially responsible for part of my career.
Indirectly, partially.
Yes. Well, you never know. Yeah, exactly.
Indirectly, partially.
It's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, all right.
Signing Bone Crusher, getting Never Scared popping. I actually wrote the Source cover that he was on and pitched that to them and convinced them that the South and Atlanta was next.
That's what's up.
And that it was on and popping from there. Now I appreciate you.
Okay, well, then it is.
Making it happen.
I mean, you helped me out too. You know what I mean? By
for
doing
sure.
that.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
I mean, see, he affected my life too, man. I bought Crisscross tape when I was goddamn 11.
No doubt. I think Crisscross affected all of our lives in some way or another.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Most definitely, man. I know. Talking to you, it seems like you mellowed out over the years. Is it a vegan thing? What's going on?
What does mellow out mean?
I remember talking to you probably 10 to 12 years ago, and we were at Majestic over there at the diner doing the Source shoot.
Yeah.
And you seemed to care that you weren't getting the credit you deserve for certain things. Now, it don't really seem to bother you like that at all.
I mean, I kind of come to the conclusion that people ain't gonna give me that credit. You know what I mean? It's just like it's things that happen in Atlanta that people don't take for granted, right? Like I was listening to Nas, and on Hate Me Now, Nas said the first rapper to bring a platinum plaque back to the projects, right? And I thought about that, and I'm like, damn. I'm the first nigga who brought platinum music to Atlanta, period.
Yeah. Like,
nobody sold records more than Crisscross when I put out Crisscross. But, like, none of that mattered. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that type of stuff don't matter to... It just don't seem like it mattered to a bunch of people. Like, me saying it right now, I don't even think people gonna care about that. But it matters to, like, other people. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, here in this... I don't know what it is because we come from Atlanta, whatever it is, it's still, like, if you say that... It don't really feel like how when Nas said it. Like, it sounded like Nas said the first rapper to bring a platinum plaque back to the project. It sounded like it was like a race for a whole bunch of people racing to try to get to that place. And maybe because it wasn't a bunch of people racing me, and I was the only person that did it. That's probably what it is. So I think it's kind of like I'm one of one. You know what I mean? And I'm against myself. Me getting mad about it or saying something about it. It's almost like who am I arguing with? You know what I mean? Because people can't really relate to what I'm talking about. Like right now I'm saying that it's nobody else in mind that nobody could even compare to.
I mean, well, about. They say they treat people better when they go abroad than when they be at home. You know what I'm saying? It might be one of them type of things, man.
I don't know. No, I just think it's like I said, it's no race. When you in a race or you in a battle or you in a fight with somebody and it's a 1 and a 2, then the comparisons is different. But when people have to compare you to yourself, the fight is just like, basically it ain't even like something that we don't even practice that. We don't even practice fighting ourselves. We practice fighting somebody else.
It seems like it's a gift and a curse for you, because pretty much since the beginning, it's always kind of been like where you had these big ideas or you had these big things that you wanted out of life, and people was kind of like, what you know about that? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it is. But that's my point. That's my point. It's basically when you're, like I said, my whole career has been me doing something that nobody else has done, right? Or trying to do something that nobody else has done. And when you do that, they don't have the people that the naysayers. They don't have nobody to compare it to. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So if they don't have nobody to compare it to, they just gonna knock it. They gonna make it seem like it's nothing. If they had somebody else to say like, oh, if such and such from East Point was trying at the same time when I was coming out of College Park, right, then it would have been like, oh, JD was the first dude from College Park that got to play. Then it would be an argument that everybody would be champion. But the fact that it's me by myself in this big city, that makes it a little, I guess, I don't know. I just got to a point where it don't make no sense. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, right, and they going to keep doing what they doing.
True. So you're competing against yourself.
100%.
Okay. No doubt. Man, we were talking earlier just about the different things we want to touch, things nobody else had touched on, and there's literally so much stuff. Like, dog, like there's literally like, Brad, you when people think prolific, they really, people say Pac, people say this and that. Dude, you've never stopped working. Yeah,
and I'm not stopping now. I'm simply going to get worse. I swear to you. I'm telling you, it's about to get worse. I could tell you right now. It's going to get worse.
All right. Well, I mean, obviously, I think everybody knows the Chris Cross story. You've said it a million times. People know the Brat story to an extent, but talking about Brat, everybody, heard about her incident, her getting out. And she's been out, she's been dropping freestyles and all of that. What is the plan to bring her back where she should be?
Really, it's just to get her to understand that. You know what I mean? Like right now, before when Brat first came out, artists didn't have to put out freestyles. Okay. And if you did put a freestyle out, then that was like extra gravy on the side of the plate, right? You gave somebody a freestyle, that was like, oh, wow. Now it's like artists have to do that to get their momentum up, right? So getting her to understand that, right? That's basically that's the thing that I'm trying to basically get her to understand, like get into the motion of just putting this stuff out and not being like, because back in that time, an artist like Brat would just go in the studio and record, and it was made for records. Like she'd go in the studio, it was definitely a record gonna come out. Like when we made the B-side with Biggie, that wasn't like a freestyle. That was a real record, right? Nowadays, people make records like that. They just throwing them out on the internet. We'll put your record out. We go in the studio, we gonna put your record out. It's gonna come out. It's gonna go in the stores. It's gonna be all of this. So she wasn't really used to just putting out freestyles and jumping on other people's records. That's always been my style, but that wasn't her thing.
You can tell that she's more enthused about some than others. Like the Feeling Myself joint you did, she snapped on that. You could tell she felt like she should have been on that record.
Well, nah, I mean that's me. I'm in the studio with the battery in the back, and I'm just telling her, like, I feel like Brat is one of the most lyrical female artists that we ever had, right? Yeah. As far as rapping goes, and she from Chicago, and she spit a whole different way than, she ain't from Atlanta, she ain't from the South, she from the Midwest. So I feel like when she's doing now, she has to let people know who Brat is. Like, I think I introduced her so people felt like she from Atlanta, she live here, blah blah blah. But that ain't, Brat is from, she from the West Side of Chicago. Right. She always been But I think it's really important now that more people are getting lyrical and people want to hear lyrics and this, that, and the third, that she really do what she do. And she, that's what you hear on that Feeling Myself.
Like, being a person that's always been in the studio, like, do you think the fact that folks have to freestyle and give away all this stuff for free, do you think that's a thing where it allows people to sharpen steel, or do you think it's a thing where it tires motherfuckers out?
For me, it makes me sharper, but for some people, it tires them out because it don't. A lot of people they don't know how to change it at some point. You know what I mean? Like I always jumped on people's records so that I could have a new breath at doing something else, as opposed to constantly doing the same thing. So if you jump on this is always my thought. If I jump on somebody's record and I rap the way they rap, or I'm rapping in the midst of what they're doing, it takes me in a different direction. It makes me have to pay attention to what they're doing for a little bit, as well as it takes your attention off of my style, and it makes you pay attention to, damn, he did something a little different, right? And then it breaks the monotony of me just making the same type of songs every day. Some people get lost in it, but I think, like, when I look at like what Drake does, that's what Drake be doing. Drake jumped on the Migos so he could take their whole style and be able to do it, and it be, he be cool with doing it, and people don't say he's biting it. Because if you did it on his own, then people would say, you just biting his style. He did it on a song, so it gives you permission to actually use their style. So it gives you a chance to break up the monotony of what you be doing.
Is this yet another tactic that Jermaine Dupri does not get credit for?
Hey, man. I can't call it. They act like they don't hear my freestyles, though. That's the funny part.
That's because you hit them for so long.
I mean, man, listen. I can't. I don't. It's some. Sometimes like it's funny when I jumped on Teach Me How to Dougie. They weren't playing Dougie record in Atlanta, right? When I jumped on the record,
right?
And I was like, I love this song. I didn't jump on the record thinking that Atlanta was gonna add the record, but I think at that time, who was the PD at V103? Tasha. I think it was Tasha. I think she was the PD, and she called me as soon as I got on it. Like, yo, I heard your verse on the Teach Me How to Dougie. I'm gonna put that in, and I'm like, what? I don't got nothing to do with that record, but okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's sometimes that people pay attention to it, sometimes they don't. They act like they don't even hear what I be doing. On that level, anyway.
Do you think it's, and I'm jumping kind of a little bit ahead, but do you think that it's possible for anybody that's coming up now, kind of following in your footsteps, to do it the way that you did? Like, the trial and error, that whole process of, like, even when you started with TLC and then you ended up kind of losing that first one, like, is there room for that kind of mistake these days? Like, would you say
100%.
that?
I mean, people are scared of the new definition of relevant. Like, this is a new definition of relevant, right?
You got to elaborate on that.
Well, because, a lot of times people always want to say, they, like, I know, like, on the Breakfast Club, when I did, when I was doing the 20th anniversary concert, Charlamagne the God kept acting like, So Def is not relevant. And I'm like,
he's also a devil's advocate too.
Not well. I mean, you got to take it. You got to listen to it in both ways, right? I listen to everything in both ways. When somebody says something, so I'm listening to it, and they basically have made this new definition of relevance, right? That relevance that they talk about now is, are you on the radio today? What's happening in your life right now, right? My relevance in my mind is, once again, who's caught my track record? Because I think about music the way, like, people look at the NBA and sports and all of this other stuff. So, like, we still out here talking about Michael Jordan. He ain't played basketball in almost 20 years, right? We still wearing his sneakers. He ain't played basketball in like 20 years. Is he relevant or is he not, right? That's how I look at it. Like, so when you say that about me, like, ain't nobody sold more records than Usher. Ain't nobody sold more records in this town than Criss Cross. Ain't nobody in this city did what I did ever. Am I not relevant? Like, that's how I look. That's how I be looking at it. So I look at it one time. So when I say that, I say that if kids today stop paying attention to wanting to be in the mix right now and want a long story for their life to be, anybody could do what I'm doing. Because I actually don't care about today. I care about tomorrow, and I care about what's going to happen in 2020. I care about what's about to happen in 2030. Like, I don't care about today. I feel like today ain't even right now anyway.
Have you always been that way, or is that something that came over time?
Nah, I always been like that. Like, when I was when I was 16 and I was telling people I was gonna be a producer, they ain't believe me. You know what I mean? They was like, whatever, you gonna make beats. And I'm like, nah, I'm gonna make the songs, I'm gonna write it, I'm gonna find the groups. I had a whole idea what I was gonna do. They ain't pay no attention to it. And even the groups. That's probably why I lost TLC, because they ain't believe what I was saying either.
Well, like, you did get to celebrate a 20-year anniversary, so I mean, in 2013. I actually made it to that show, and kudos to you for starting the show on time, because if y'all didn't get there on time, you missed Crisscross.
No,
so I was
kudos, because I was across the street thinking it was going to start late.
You lost out.
There, like,
I try to tell people that, too. I try to tell them.
Oh, it was a hell of a show. It was a huge show, man. We had a great time at that show. How does it feel for the city to just come out and salute you like that?
I mean, once again, I feel good. I'm glad everybody got a chance to see it, but I also feel like we all still, a bunch of people took that for granted, and we still take that for granted. In hip-hop, we take it for granted, because I'm the only person living that can do that. Nobody else, no other record company or nobody. Puff just had his concert, and his show was good, but the difference with his show was that all of his artists wasn't there. Every one of my artists that you've ever seen me put out was on that stage.
Yeah.
And somebody that I made records with. That's never going to happen again in the history of hip-hop. Not at Death Row, not Cash Money, not Bad Boy, not none of them labels.
You maintain a good relationship with all of them?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I came out on Puff's show first, so, you know what I mean? Oh, you talking about my artists?
Yeah, your artists.
Oh, yeah, 100%. All me and my artists is always good. I don't have no reason. They don't have no reason to be mad at me. I did everything that I told them I was going to do for them, and that's all that matters.
And considering you wrote and produced almost everything, I'm assuming you're very, very nice compared to a lot of label mongrels. Because a lot of artists complain that didn't write or didn't do this, but we haven't heard any of your people complain.
Well, I mean, like I said, majority of my artists, they understand what's going on. Like I said, like when I found Escape, it was my idea 100% to bring them out the way that they look, bring them out the way that they sound, 100, all of it, right? So if you sit at the table with me and I give you a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper I got everything covered already, and your ideas is just thoughts, you ain't really, really certain about it, then 9 times out of 10 you're gonna go with what you feel like is moving forward, and then you start saying, if it don't work, then you got a chance to be like, I don't know about this. I told you, I ain't think you was doing it right, JD. But you know, every time that I do something, I've been pushing it, and it just happened to work. You know, like I ain't know if y'all was gonna like Brad or not, but it worked. So
did anybody ever tell you that they didn't like Brad? Because I remember reading all like the magazines and reviews and all that stuff, and I remember seeing like little slithers of stuff saying, man, I don't know, she sounds just like Snoop Doggy Dogg. You know what I'm saying? Did you ever catch any of that stuff? Did you ever read any of that stuff?
Yeah, I did. I mean, but like I said, I never heard. I mean, I couldn't understand. You know, I did try to pattern her behind Snoop on different levels of things. She smokes a shitload of weed, right? as Snoop does, and as that whole crew. The funk music, and there's a bunch of things that was happening that could coincide with what what's going on. But at the same time, as far as her being a female version of Snoop, I thought she was a female version of myself. There's also that's another thing. Like before I came out with records as me as Jermaine Dupri as an artist, a lot of people didn't understand none of my artists because I viewed them as me. I'm gonna make you this version of JD. I'm gonna make you this version of JD. Like T-Boz. T-Boz is a female singing version of Jermaine Dupri. That's what I sound like when I sing my demos. And that's what she started mimicking. That's how she got that sound.
That's why she's singing that register.
Yeah.
Look at you with the technical singing sound.
No, she knows.
Register.
She knew this already.
Find out Nadine got a demo somewhere.
Never.
So, we were talking about the So Def 20th anniversary that kicked off with Crisscross. You didn't have Silk Times Leather on the thing, so they were your artists.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, okay. So let's say it started with all the artists that actually had some success.
I'm just messing.
No, because I mean,
I remember them.
Funny.
Though. I remember watching
your
on TV.
I'm
rap.
happy that you remember that because I'm saying like a lot of times stuff that you do as your first, people don't even know about it. So the fact that you even bring it up feels like that was a success. I made that record when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
Like, I can't ask for no more than a person to say that they remember that. Like, most of the time, people that made shit at 17, nobody know them. They don't even know nothing about it. Like, you did that for real? Mm-hmm. Like, yeah. You know, I put just as much time into Silk Times Leather as I put into any other artist. I wrote their whole album. I produced all the beats, everything. So, it was like the same work, but it didn't really pan out to be nothing.
Gotcha.
But I mean, with you saying it, that it does pan out to be something.
Well, I'm glad I could help. Right? Chris Cross opened the show, and then 6 months later, Chris Kelly passed away.
Yeah.
You essentially helped raise those kids, man. Like, how did that affect you immediately, and then just long term from that point?
Like you said, it felt like I had lost a child. You know what I'm saying? Like, it hit me one night when I finally got here. Like, it really, really hit me. Like, really, really hard. Like, because I probably could have, in so many ways, you start questioning if you could have saved the situation. And I probably could have saved the situation. I had to put more focus on making sure that Criss Cross continued to keep doing what they was doing.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my life is, I move from one artist to the next and continue to keep moving on. But so when that happens, you definitely have to start looking and saying, damn, I could have,
Right. There was a lot of controversy around that, in this TMZ age we live in. And for years, it seemed like as far as your personal life, everything flew under the radar. And then, bam, all of a sudden, it seems like every time there's some kind of an issue with anything, it's on TMZ, it's on the little blogs here in Atlanta. Like, do you pay attention to that stuff, or you just kind of let it go in one ear and out the other?
What's crazy is that y'all might think this is really crazy, but I actually put this in the universe, right? That I wanted something to happen more in my career that was bad as opposed to all the good, because I got sick of doing interviews where people was almost like interview me and they would like downplay all the shit that I did. Right? You guys mentioned you do an interview and you go somewhere and you coming to talk about more success. Niggas don't want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. In today's radio world, I go do an interview. Every time I go do an interview, I'm like, yo, I'm up here. I want to talk about Anthony Hamilton. He just went platinum. And niggas like, okay, JD, but you don't need no help. I'm like,
What?
like, you think this shit is easy, right? It got to a point, like, it was getting to a point like that. Like, every time I was doing something about an artist, like, if you talk about Bone Crusher, anybody that they would leave behind all of the other stuff that was going on. Now, maybe I was just being greedy and wanted to be on the radio and hear people talk about all of it, and maybe that's the wrong thing to do. But at the same time, it was like, I started looking at my life again. Like, I do that, period. I look at the whole picture of things, and I start looking at it and saying, okay, if you compare this to this, you compare this to this, Jermaine, it's too much. It's too much fluff going on, right? It just looked like, Usher sold this many, this person sold this many, this person sold, and once it started going like that, people actually hate. It's more hatred out there than it is people being happy about championing what you're doing. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, if you got a football team, anything, like the Hawks right now. When I get on Twitter right now and I start talking about the Hawks, niggas will go crazy on me right now. Fuck them, blah, 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 right?
Sure,
But
man.
we
This
winning.
guy right here is borderline be hating.
I don't hate. I just analyzed and shout out to the Hawks for following the Day One Radio Twitter page. Appreciate
But you
that.
see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, if you, like, when they went on the streak, how many games they won? Like 17?
19.
19 games in a row. Like, if that streak would have kept going, everybody been on ESPN saying, yeah, but wait till the playoffs start. Yeah, but wait till the playoffs start. Why you can't applaud the 19 wins in a row, right? That's just the world we live in. So niggas don't actually, they want to see you succeed. But once you catch that bubble, the hate is there, right? So I felt so much hatred when I would go do interviews about just bringing out new shit. Niggas would just try to find anything. When I brought out Jaquan, niggas, what you signed a nigga from St. Louis from? You from Atlanta. Like, dog, listen, man, I run a record company. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm glad you brought that up, because like growing up here, man, that's the main gripe I always used to hear folks say about Jermaine Dupri and So Def. Like, man, he don't sign rappers from Atlanta. Why ain't he sign
Chris
Outkast,
Cross is
Goody
from
Mob?
Atlanta.
I mean, outside
But
of Chris
that's what I'm
Cross.
saying. No, they don't. Niggas in Atlanta
They don't count.
Don't count crisscross from being from Atlanta.
It's true.
That's what I'm talking
They got
about.
because they got too big.
No, I don't know what it is. Maybe because they was kids, but they from the heart of Atlanta, from being a kid. That's another thing. Like as the time changed, we live in a world that's about youngness right now. Everybody in the rap game want to be young, right? When I came in the game, we was the youngest niggas in the game, and niggas was shining what the young people was doing. Like I got Chris and Chris from Campbellton Road. Like they from the streets of Atlanta. They more from the gutter than I am. Like I found them in Greenboro. I don't live over there. You know what I'm saying? I'm from College Park. It's different. But they really from the west side. They really was out there in the streets with the kids. They was at the barbershops. They was taking me to a bunch of places I was never going. But niggas in Atlanta wasn't considering them an Atlanta group. And maybe right. Maybe just because it didn't feel like it was local. I don't know what it was. But once again, it was. And that's how, once again, I had to deal with that. Like, I got an artist from St. Louis. Oh, this nigga, So I get Bone Crusher. Niggas still talking. I get the Young Bloods. Niggas still. I'm like, okay, I just signed 2 niggas from Atlanta. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? But it is what it is. Like I said, I don't even be paying no attention to that shit. But that's the stuff I have to deal with.
Yeah.
So back to your question, I put that in the atmosphere. I think when you put something in for me anyway, when I throw something in the universe, that shit coming back every time. So when I threw it out there in the universe, I need some. I want something bad. I need some bad shit so that when I go talk to people, they have something to talk about.
You right. That shit does sound crazy, bro.
No, but shout out to Ty St. Louis. She told me that she was like, the universe doesn't know how to take a joke. You know what I'm saying? So even if you say something like that,
yeah, but this wasn't no joke. I'm dead serious. I felt like I said, I examined the game 100%. I'm a student of the game. Like, I looked at this. When Puff and Bad Boy really blew up, it was because it was so much bad shit going on. The music was crazy at the same time, but big pass. Puff album came out. Puff was dealing with a case with him and J-Lo. It was so much shit going on that every time you turned on the TV, it was Puff Daddy this, Puff Daddy that, or Puff, whatever it was something good or bad, right? With Jermaine Dupri, I never had that. It was just good. They ain't reporting that on the news. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear something bad. What's happening?
Dirt.
What's the dirt?
Speaking of something bad that could have potentially been bad, I always wanted to ask you this face to face. All right. Source Awards 1995. The infamous Suge Knight speech. Don't want your person video dancing. Puff Daddy took offense to it. Jumped there and said some stuff. I've heard that statement could have possibly been directed at you. Is there any truth?
I wasn't paying no attention to it. Cause I had whole state, whole region, as far as I felt, on my back. What Suge talking about wasn't even he couldn't even really get into my mindset at that particular point in time. I thought he was talking about Puff. I pushed it on that. Like, you're not talking to me, because I got a whole state I'm trying to bring the whole South. Y'all don't fuck with none of us. You from LA, you from New York. I'm dealing with trying to just get in. By the way, I'm too small for you to even talk about. I'm not even big enough for you to even be talking about. That was the whole mindset of this whole thing. You know what I mean? Because it was only like me, and then it was Dre and Big Boy sitting there. There wasn't no more Southern artists in that audience. If they was quiet as a mouse. Right? Outkast won. Me and Brat performed. That was it. That was the only existence of Southern hip hop at the Source Awards. I think the Ghetto Boys, but I mean, I'm talking about the South.
Yeah.
This South.
Yeah.
So, I wasn't even thinking about it. And nobody else in the audience was looking at me like, you be somewhere and somebody say something, niggas be looking at you. Nobody in the audience, nobody audience turn around and look at me and say,
what he gonna do?
JD, he talking to you. No, it wasn't that. It was because it was more about New York and LA.
Okay.
That was, you could tell that's what it was, and that's how it was going.
Got you. What happened to the Billboard, man?
I mean, I think like I said, I've tried to move on, man. It was up there too long.
People miss it.
Yeah,
I know why I miss it, man. I mean, shout out to Birdman and them, bro. But it's like, they ain't from here, and I ain't trying to see them when I'm coming back home. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Like, once again, I say this. I say, when people say they miss it, I don't know what they miss it for. I'm wondering what they miss it for. Like, why? Because I used to say stuff back. This is what you said when I first started. You said JD used a little bit more rowdy, right? I used to scream on people when I had my billboard on the city, like, yo, y'all should keep this up here because it's a landmark of Atlanta. I used to say this to the mayors, to everybody, politicians, anybody. This is what I was saying. They just looking at me like, niggas, you crazy. And I'm thinking like, damn, I'm trying to put on for the city. Yeah. I'm not doing this for me. I really feel like this is something that the people like to see when they come into this town. So, sometimes when you feel unappreciated, you got to pull back. And I felt like, not just that, I just felt like it was up there too long. The color was killing me.
The color was bright.
those neon 90s.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Color was bright.
The color was killing me. It was just, I just felt like it got old for me. You know what I mean? So, that's it.
All right, most definitely. Well, I mean, we're going to jump around a little bit, but it was good a time as any. You worked on a couple very seminal albums that people probably feel like is the best work of these particular artists' careers. So, first album we want to talk about, man. Can you take us back to the emancipation of Mimi and the zone you were like? You did 3 of the biggest records, probably of her career, on that album. Definitely 3 of the biggest records on that album, and it brought her back. And I know that's your girl, but even from a personal and music standpoint, like, what was the zone you was in during that period?
No zone.
Really?
Yeah, no zone. It's funny because I was just talking about this the other day. Like, people, I think people think that I have some kind of pressure or something when I go in the studio. Like, when I go in the studio, I don't be thinking about nothing that's happening outside. I'm only thinking about what I feel like you're supposed to be doing as an artist. If I thought she should have been making dance records, them the records we would have made, like, that might not have been what was happening, right? So we made a ballad. People probably was like, what? What the fuck? Y'all make a ballad for, right? But the ballad became Song of the Decade, and We Belong Together, like you're saying. But I don't think, like, when I go in the studio, I just go with what I believe the artist should make, based on what I feel like I've been missing from that artist, not anything that somebody else is saying. So there's really no zone. It's just sitting in there like, what did I hear you? So if your artist come to the studio and they play records that somebody produced for them, that's usually how it is. They come to the studio and they play, like, JD, listen to what I've been working on. Okay. So they'll play me a song from Pharrell, or she played me a song from this person, she played me this song. So now I'm listening, I'm like, okay, I heard 5-6 songs, and I ain't hear this, and I ain't hear this. This is what I'm about to make. So then I just go make what I didn't hear.
Was that the same? It's a little bit different with you and Usher because you guys have worked together from second album on, but was it the same way with the joints you worked on for Confessions?
Yeah, because like it's funny because people credit me for doing My Way, then they skip over 8701. Which is crazy.
8701 was huge.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about for me. I think because I didn't have the most singles on 8701. Okay. That people don't pay attention to that. I did like 5-6 songs on 8701, right? People skip over the album. So on 8701,
niggas stay not giving you your credit.
But I mean, it's crazy, but it's cool. I mean, they go with You Got It Bad. They go with You Got It Bad, but then that's it. They like, we just did one song. But I did U-Turn. I did a bunch of songs on that album, right? So, but when I looked at 8701, I looked at the fact that people skipped over, but then I looked at the success of You Got It Bad, right? And I said, okay, you got, You Don't Have to Call, and you had You Remind Me, right? These was nice mid-tempo records, up-tempo record. But the success of You Got It Bad was still
out of here,
stupid. Like, right. It was still one of the biggest records that Usher could perform today, right? So all I did was look at that and say, we only made one song like this. Why? That's what I said to him. Why would we make only one You Got It Bad? We didn't know what that song was, obviously. This is the conversation I'm having with him. I'm like, we didn't know what that was. We need to go make 3-4 of them songs for this new album. And he's like, why? L.A. Reid's like, why? I'm like, y'all don't see you don't see why? And sometimes people don't see this. They just start thinking you're supposed to do what everybody else is doing. I'm like, no, the fans want him to make music like this. This is Usher's sound. So it started with Nice and Slow. And Nice and Slow was kind of like You Got It Bad. And You Got It Bad was just like Let It Burn, and Let It Burn. Like all of them records, they just start being like, this is what we got to do. I'm making your sound. Like, this is yours. Like, let's create this. So that's basically what it was. I just went in the studio with him and just was like looking at once again. And then he started recording other records with Jimmy and Terry and all these other people. And none of them was making them type of records. They was skipping over that sound. Like, I'm like, this is your sound. You got to make this. So we just started making records like that. And that's where
Burn.
Confessions Part 1 came from. The Confessions Part 1 was called All Bad.
Right.
And that was basically me telling Usher his whole life was just bad. How he was treating his girl, all of that. The whole situation was bad. And then he was like, okay, well, if I'm let's be all the way bad. Let me go ahead and get a baby. And when he said that, I'm like, shit, I just went through that. And it's like, damn, okay. And it was just so easy for me to write it because I had just woke up from that last night. So it was like
fresh on the
night
mind.
before that. Yeah, it's super easy.
Definitely. That's dope, man. I mean, it's been, I guess since we're talking about that, we might as well stay on it. You brought out Jagged Edge, and, you know, J.E. Heartbreak was crazy. They had a lot of hits over the years. And I heard you talking about recently when Part 2 dropped that about the state of R&B and how, you know, it's just, it ain't at all like what we've known it to be. Have you been satisfied with the reception of that album?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. But at the same time, once again, I gotta say, everything I throw in the universe, that shit be happening, right? So it's this Darnell Jones album, right? That's like by far to me, Brian Cox, and a bunch of niggas who love R&B. That Darnell Jones album is by far one of the best R&B albums that ever came out. Right?
Where I want to be.
Yeah,
I rebought that the other day.
Right, but it wasn't. So it didn't sell a lot, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it didn't sell a lot of records because he was on the same label as Usher. Usher, you know, when Usher came, Darnell got swept away. So it's kind of like, but it was a very well listened to album. And everybody that you ask about that, they'll say, yo, that Darnell Jones album was jamming. He had song after song, and he had this, that, and the third, right? So when I'm sitting around analyzing, I be saying like, damn, what was my just good album? Not the album that sold so many copies. What was the good? Because like when I talk about Michael Jackson, Off the Wall album to me is better than Billie Jean album,
Thriller.
Than the Thriller album.
It's definitely blacker, for sure.
Blacker, it's just better, right? And it didn't sell the most. No. So that's what I be sitting there saying. What's the album that I did that's just a good R&B album? So when we was making Part 2, that's what I actually was trying to do. I wasn't trying to make a record full of where the party's at. I was trying to make a record that was like, that people felt like they could listen to forever, and it didn't have a hit that took you away from what was actually happening on the record. Because a lot of times when you have albums that got a big song on them, then you overlook the rest of the album.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of that just happens. So I wanted to make sure that Jagged Edge had an album that people could listen to from top to bottom, and that's what I was actually talking about. So when I say people haven't really received it the way I wanted them, I don't really know that yet because I haven't heard. I mean, it's gonna take a minute for people to say, yo, I be fucking with that. And I have heard of people say that to me, like, yo, I really be fucking with that.
It seems like now folks be like almost on some in the closet type stuff when they like, you know, listening to R&B. Like, man, I don't want to let folks know I be listening to them. Like, I mean, you used to be able to ride around the Jodeci guy, you know what I'm saying, all that. But like now it's like, I mean, I don't want nobody knowing that, you know, I like girls, bro, and I be listening to this shit sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's really, really what it is. Is like I said, it's the confidence level in R&B. And the people's confidence of just listening to it is gone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people are scared to actually say that they, like you said, I'm going to a Jodeci concert. Like, they ain't gonna tell their homeboy that. I'm gonna slide over with this girl. I'm going to Jersey concert.
But you know what? I'm kind of guilty of that too, because I be clowning folks and they be saying, you know, hey, I'm going to that Trey Songz concert. Like, bro, for what?
But
you
that's
know?
not.
Yeah,
That
see,
ain't
that's
the
what I'm
same
saying.
kind of. No,
I mean,
saw
it is,
pictures.
though.
I
No.
saw pictures of y'all. Are y'all gonna be working together?
Who, me and Trey?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, me and Trey, we a crew. We the Oceans. Like that. We've been work. Like, you know what I mean? It's like we a crew. We just homies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Trey Songz and Chris Brown concert is like that to me though.
Okay.
Trey Songz is very R&B on his show. When Chris come out, it becomes a little bit more poppy and dancey and hip hopish. But
Right.
Trey keep it, you know, pretty much R&B, shirt off.
He does.
Right? You know what I'm saying? He keep it R&B,
No,
and that's
Nadine grins ear
Nadine-
to
Yeah, the
ear.
lady got to join in and say.
No, Nadine is somebody who hates R&B music. How do you feel about this topic?
No, I don't really like. And this
Oh,
is
you hate R&B.
That's
That's why you say he
unfair.
does.
She from East New York.
That's unfair.
She from East New York. She gangster.
I don't like R&B. I don't
Turn
like.
that singing shit off,
I don't,
nigga.
yeah, I don't really like this R&B. I don't really like this R&B. I do like New Jack Swing and like the stuff that my parents used to play, like 70s, 80s, whatever, that type stuff. But like Anita Baker, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody does that now. No one. Because even Trey, like even though he puts on that kind of show, he does have one song that I do like though that I heard while I was in Austin called Slow Motion.
Mm-hmm.
You like the joint?
Yeah.
It's actually aight.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for the most part, it's just like.
Yes, I mean that's I guess
like
I mean, you know, by the way, I guess fucking is like at all time high right now. That's
Yeah.
it's
Gotta be.
Yeah.
it's gotta be.
We seen that
Right.
HIV
This is all
AIDS joint that
people is
came
talking
out
about in
yesterday
these
for
songs.
Atlanta.
that's it.
I mean, this is all the people talking about in their songs. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, I'm sure the older artists was doing the same thing. It was just said it a little bit differently.
Right.
Yeah.
But
They had the innuendos. They were better with the vocabulary. They
yeah,
weren't
just,
so
you know,
direct.
yeah, it just feel like I think I saw like I got a social network Global 14, and
Yeah,
I was
we
on
gonna
there
talk
today.
about that.
I was on there today, and I was reading somebody's posting, and they was like, they really came at me really sideways about Usher's song, I Don't Mind, and they coming at me like because they see me with Usher, so they think I'm supposed to be able to tell him whatever the fuck what he's supposed to do, and I'm like, I ain't got nothing to do with this, right?
Yeah.
By the way, but he was coming at me saying it's fucked up that somebody with Usher's credibility, as big as he is, he's out here promoting girls going to work at a strip club. And I'm listening, I'm reading this, and I'm like,
Do they not know your history with strip club?
I mean, see, listen, that's why I said I don't have nothing to do with that. But, you know, I think it goes back to what we're talking about. Like, people don't want to hear Usher sing about loving a girl that's in the strip club, obviously. But then, like I told him, we live in a world where if it works, you can't fight it, right?
And
that was
it's
another
working.
#1 record for Usher. So you basically, your words is just swept under the carpet. It don't matter what you're saying because it worked. And it worked. But he was like, but what about John Legend and this, that, and the third? And I'm like, John Legend and Usher is,
Yeah.
you know,
Different.
Yeah,
they
night and
different.
day.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think Usher sometimes he has to juggle in this world of relevance, this world of people talking about, is Usher still relevant? You know, people try to put Chris Brown and Usher against each other. I don't
That's
know how
so
that happens,
ridiculous.
but that's, you know what I mean? So in that world, and you that artist, you got to think about what you're going to do in that particular point in time. You know what I mean? I don't know if Usher really 100% is behind that song being his life. He just making music that he feels like the people want to hear.
So I brought up Silk Times Leather. I got another super random so deaf artist that nobody will probably remember but me. But her joint jammed in the club for years. That Trina Broussard Love You So Much joint. What happened? I think I have like a Japanese import. Like, that's one of the most hard to find records ever.
That's one of the artists that I hate didn't really happen. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like that's one of them projects where Jermaine just starts like hoping that he could take anything and turn it into something. And I feel like people was really determined to try to make that not be. You know what I mean? Because it was a big girl.
That song
First of
is
all,
so good.
she's a big girl, and I was ignoring all of that. Like, I don't care if she big. You know what I mean? I was thinking about her voice, and that's all I was. You know, the music is incredible. Y'all worrying about how she looking with blah blah blah, right? And I was fighting that. That's all I heard every day. Yo, she big. Who gonna fuck with that? Who wanna fuck her? Da, da, da. You know what I mean? This is the stuff I had to deal with.
Right.
And that's when I start closing it out, thinking I'm gonna make this girl blow up anyway, right? And her voice, you couldn't fight it. And the DJs was loving the records, like you.
The record's crazy.
Yeah, but we had to deal with the
politics,
the look of putting out a artist, an oversized female artist in the 90s.
Yeah,
that shit won't happen. Like,
Speaking-
not like that.
Speaking of what happened to us, man, shit, what happened to Mr. Black, Charlie? He was snapping on that Crisscross song, and he used to do that Greg Street intro, man. What happened to him, man?
Oh God, I was trying to think of his name earlier.
The pressures of the business, he couldn't take it.
For sure.
How many people have you seen leave out on that?
On what?
The pressures of the business.
A lot. I want to go ahead and first say this is gonna be the first time I say this on a national interview.
Exclusive.
Or whatever. So this is exclusive. I had Brandon Hines, right? There's a new artist that I had, and he literally went crazy. Like,
Wow.
and people ask me every day what happened to Brandon, why he didn't come out, blah 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 blah. He literally went crazy, and I never saw that happen. I seen artists tell me that they can't take it and this, that, and the third, but as you asked that, there's a new artist that I was pushing, and he literally went crazy.
What happened? Was it like one event where he was just like, "This is too much"?
I just think I don't know. I mean, maybe it happened too fast for him because, like, he had been trying to put out music. Then I got in his life and he was ready to go, right? And yeah, he just lost it. Like, he couldn't he couldn't control what had to happen with what was happening. I guess that's to say. He just lost control of his life in the midst of coming out.
I mean, it's like we hear about folks going crazy all the time. And hell, that new Kendrick CD, he rapping like he about to go crazy half the time. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how did you not go crazy? How did we not see you running down Sunset Boulevard? How did we not see you, you know what I'm saying, snapping out on paparazzi every other day?
Because I ain't never believed that nobody cared, right? I think that's why when you ask me about even now, like, I feel like don't nobody care what Jermaine Dupri do in my mind. So therefore I'm just gonna do so much more shit just because I don't think nobody care anyway. So I'm not even focused on somebody saying nothing, right? A lot of these people get lost in nowadays anyway, social media. Like, I be looking at these kids get on social media, they be putting their whole life out there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why are you telling this shit to these people? They don't care. I mean, you think they care, and the people start really believing that Twitter is the way for them to talk. They need somebody to talk to, right? Me, I just don't believe. I don't think nobody care about me, and that's just been that way from day one. So if I like something, I like it. If I'm gonna put on some lime green sneakers, I'm gonna put them lime green sneakers on for me, and I'm gonna go to the club. And if somebody say something about it, I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna kick them shits up on the side so they can see them a little bit loud. Like, I don't really get caught up in what people say and what people, you know what I mean, like all of that. And I got over that the older I got, because I used to care about, like, my clothes and this, that, and the third. That shit don't matter, man. None of that matter.
Mark Zuckerberg wear the same outfit every day.
That shit don't be that
Brothers
shit don't matter.
can't do shit like that, though.
We put too much emphasis on stuff like that. That ain't what really matter in life.
You're absolutely right about that. Like, obviously, your pops is in the business. Who do you go to? Is it him? Is it somebody else when you need to, like, really discuss something within the business that really has you perplexed, like you don't know how to figure it out?
Nobody.
Really?
He told you he's racing himself, Shawty.
Yeah, I don't have nobody.
Everybody has some kind of
I mean,
confidence,
I talk to. I got friends that I talk to.
Okay.
We bounce things off each other, but there's
Gotcha.
nobody that I actually can go to and they give me the answers that I need to answer a question. Right? I just take, if I have a conversation with people and multiple people, then I put their answers in front of me and I try to base my answer from that point on. Like, okay, he said this, he said this, he said this, so I should possibly do this, right? That's basically how it goes.
You're a very organized person.
Yeah, that's Virgo.
Yeah, I know absolutely nothing about astrology, but I've heard that.
No, they are, and they're very much like,
Yeah,
it's gonna be my way. Yeah.
Well, I'm not.
Well,
I'm really not like that. I really, like I said, I'm really not like I was thinking about this. I wasn't even thinking about this interview. I was thinking about it last night when I went to bed, because I'm doing a show, a TV show. It's a series called I'm the Best. Well, it's called Am I the Best, actually, and it's a question mark, because I want people at home to argue about what we started this conversation about talking about. So it's basically what it is. And we had this whole thing where he said in the studio. Well, I did on Instagram. I put up Michael Jackson and Prince. Y'all argue about these two guys being the best. This is what people say. Michael Jackson and Prince are the best, but they ain't made music in 30 years. So it goes back to my relevance thing. Like, how they the best and they ain't made music in 30 years? And how I'm not the best and I done made music in the last 30 years, right? So it's just like is it mentally or is it real, right? So the show is basically shows me actually working and building and doing what I got to do. But it's a question that I put out there to people to make people want to fuel the fire of, if I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this and I did this, and ain't nobody else did this, am I not the best? And people keep saying no, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep doing what I gotta do. But I mean, that's what the show is. So, but I was thinking about the show when I was saying this last night. I was talking to myself on my way to sleep. And one of the levels that people don't understand is that one time people don't understand that I write the music and I produce the records. I don't just make beats. Like, I write the songs and I produce the record. But then I kept hearing people say, JD, what happens if Jermaine Dupri record you put out don't work? So then so what I did was I caved myself for a second and I said, let me be like the best A&R that I could possibly be. So I went into competition of being an A&R, what I think A&Rs are, right? So then I put out, for Jagged Edge first single, I put out He Can't Love You, which was produced by Brian Cox. I ain't have nothing to do with it. Right. Make that, boom, let's see what that is. Then I put out the Youngbloods, the Lil Jon produced. I put out Bone Crusher, that, I ain't produced. I put out Jaquan, I ain't produced. I just start putting out records like Anthony Hamilton. I start putting out records that I ain't produced just to show niggas that I'm going to beat you on all levels of this music shit. Like, you challenge me saying, okay, you just a producer. Okay, so let's go on the A&R side. Let's play the A&R game. This is what you're supposed to do as an A&R. You're supposed to find an artist. You're supposed to find a producer. You're supposed to put the music out. And that's what it is. On that level, that's what I started doing. And niggas weren't even paying no attention to that. They was like,
I honestly don't think a lot of people know that a lot of records came out on So Def.
Bruh. And it's
they know.
No, some of them know. Because I remember at that So Def reunion concert, the 20th anniversary, when Anthony Hamilton came out, so many heads turned like, what is he doing here? And I was
yeah,
like,
but they know.
They knew.
They knew that. They knew. I mean, he was introduced. I introduced him only on it's crazy because one time, like when I first put out Anthony Hamilton, I did a show at the Tabernacle. It was like probably 30 to 40 people there, right? And then, like 3-4 months later, he was doing the Fox by himself, and that was like one of my proudest moments in life ever, because I was like, it's crazy just because that was like the first time I actually saw something go from. Crisscross happened in like 2 weeks. I went to sleep. They shoot. But to just actually see this, go to a show where people, like you said, I had an artist and people was like, who is Jermaine got this dirty dude from North Carolina with a toothpick in his mouth and he sound like Bobby Womack. Like, this don't sound like nothing that's supposed to be on So Def. So people was actually giving me the cold shoulder. To see people turn their shoulder and start wanting to come and start asking me for tickets for them and they girl is some crazy shit. Yeah. Right? So that goes back to what I was telling you about when you put in the air that you wanted something, you want a little negativity to go with your life. You start seeing shit like that happen, you start liking it. You know what I'm saying? You start liking the fact that people was one way and you can turn them the other way. Right. It's something that you start liking that.
We definitely gonna come back to the So Def artists, but you mentioned Global 14 and one of the show's supporters saying Kareem had asked me to ask you about it. You launched it in 2011, and at that time, it was something that artists weren't really doing. So how I'm glad to see you're still doing it 4 years later and still very active in it. I was actually on the site earlier today. How is it going for you?
It's going. I mean, what's crazy about this is that, once again, in the black community, we don't pay attention to stuff until you act complete ass about it, right? I'm talking about completely. You just, especially in Atlanta, you gotta have a party. You gotta have a fucking.
You did have a party at
the
Compound.
Spaceship gotta come out of the sky. Like, people don't pay attention to something till you act completely ass about it. I took completely a different attitude about this. I did have a party with it because my membership is up. Like, my membership for Global 14 is higher than Facebook was when Mark Zuckerberg first started Facebook. Right, I'm at 47,000 members on Global 14 right now. Right, and in the mindset of the things that I want to do for Global 14, it ain't even a city big enough to hold 20% of the people that's on my site right now. Right, not Atlanta, not LA, not no city. If I was like, I'm about to do this conference called the G Pass. Right, the G Pass is basically a pass, a VIP pass into the life and the mind of Jermaine Dupri and what goes on at Global 14. It's also a social event so that you can meet people that you're talking to from this place and this place and this place all over the world. And I'm going to bring all of the stuff that's online, offline. So if you see cars that's on my site, you see people with watches, you see new technology, you see people talking about music, you see, I just posted something about Ableton today about telling guys that's making music to use the new piece that Ableton put out. Like, all of that stuff I'm going to have in the lobbies and this, that, and third, and all of these things. And this first one that I'm going to do, I'm going to interview Richard Branson. I'm going to give y'all what I feel like is my teaching to myself, right? And that's what Global 14 is, right? I don't think no little black kids have ever heard Richard Branson speak or even been in the same room with him or even had a chance to. And I might not say little, I'm saying 20, 25, 26. Like, it's an experience that we don't have no more. And I grew up having an experience like this. I had Jack the Rapper. I had a bunch of things that was educational that I could go to. This generation don't have shit, right? So, like, that's why I supported Puff with the Revolt. I support any of these things, but mine is more, it's more tech driven, and it's more about the community of Global 14 and people actually talking to each other, because I feel like social media has gotten away from the social side of it.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody socially talking about shit, but just looking at shit that's bad on Twitter. And on top of that, I don't think that America knows that 75 to 85% of what's happening on social media is black people.
Yep.
We control that shit. And I'm about to show people that we control that shit.
I know Global 14, hence the name is global, but like on some Atlanta shit, man, it's like, do you see more black folks in the city getting involved? Because like, I've been talking to a lot of my friends, shout out to my homie Bame, like we talk about this all the time, and it's like, I see a shift, and it's happening right now from Atlanta being identified mainly as a music mecca, and it's growing into trying to become like this tech and innovation mecca.
It should. I mean, you know, I'm speaking at Georgia Tech on what, Friday? Oh no,
Thursday.
Saturday.
Emory on Saturday.
Oh,
Georgia
Emory on
Tech
Saturday.
Thursday.
Right. Thank you.
No, I got you, brother.
So, like, I'm doing that to get interns for Global 14. Right. That's my main focus, because I don't want nobody working for Global 14 that ain't tech minded, that ain't in the mindset of what I'm doing. If you coming around me when I'm talking about Global 14, you coming around me talking about demos and this, that, and the third, then I'm not even gonna hear you. That ain't my focus. My focus is tech and the social community and what's going on. In this city, we have Georgia Tech. It's no way that we supposed to ignore that, right? And we had this conversation, me and Sturge, we had this conversation all the time. Like, niggas is going to San Francisco, going everywhere else. The school is called Georgia Tech for a reason. That word tech is on the end of that for a reason. I'm going to that school on Saturday to find out what the reason is, because I believe it's somebody in there that I need to work for me. And I believe it's an intern in there that's going to help turn what I'm doing or give me a crazy idea, right? And that's all I'm about. And that's so to answer your question, that's possibly going to happen. Atlanta, I mean, you know, depending on, like, say, for instance, if Global 14 was to just blow up at the end of the year, like super crazy, like the way Twitter did, right? My plans here is to do the same thing that Twitter did. Take a building like this building that y'all in, the entire building, and put people to work. and give people jobs and get the city to understand and put Wi-Fi through the whole city of Atlanta for free. Like, it's a bunch of shit that this city needs to do to get on the same track as other places. I mean, you sit on the corner in San Francisco, you can get on your computer without paying. It's Wi-Fi running through the city. Like, they making sure people is prepared for this. So, yeah, we need to get like this.
Being who you are, I'm assuming that you get to walk into a lot of different doors and rooms that the average guy may not get to walk in. People that have the money in this city, the politicians, do they welcome folks like a Jermaine Dupri? Do they welcome people that are successful in the music industry to have these kind of conversations when they're talking about, okay, we need to focus on tech, we need to focus on this? Do they welcome, conversations from, music people? Do they invite folks?
I say no, because I don't know why, but I say no, And that I don't believe that's going to happen until when you get off the plane in Atlanta, you hear "Welcome to Atlanta" when you're going up the up the escalator. When somebody changes that, because I made that song for this city. I didn't make that song for me. I made that song for this city to be like, you ride around, you proud that you from Atlanta. This is your song, right? And I done heard white people say, Jermaine, they should play "Welcome to Atlanta" when you get off the plane and you going up the escalator. You hear the mayor speaking. His should be in the background. I'm like, you know what? You're right. You should tell somebody to do this shit, right? But that being said, that forward thinking ain't here yet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I went over Tyler Perry house one day, and he had a party at his house, and I was looking around. It was so many Hollywood stars, or black Hollywood stars. It wasn't no music people there. I was the only person.
Wow. Right?
And I was looking at it, I'm like, damn, he's going to change this city to it just being about movies and this, that, and the third. Where's all the music guys? And I think it's because we have such a entrepreneurial mindset that we feel like we can do it ourselves and we don't need to have a relationship with nobody. And in tech is join forces and grab somebody's hand, and that person going to pull you, and this person. Music ain't like that. Everybody in the music game trying to act like, I don't want you to hear the shit I got. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like I'm holding off. When everybody using the same sounds anyway. You want to try, you use the same sounds.
And it's crazy because, you look at Samsung and Apple, companies that, at least on paper hate each other, and they make nothing without each other.
Oh, no, they that's what I'm saying. Most of the time, everything that's happening in San Francisco is just like a conversation of somebody else saying they said it. Like, oh, he got this. That's why, for me, with Global 14, that's been my push, is because you can't copy Global 14. You can have a site all you want to right now. Anybody can have a site. Everybody got websites. The following is what people can't. You can't copy the following. I hold knowledge within inside myself that people want to hear about and people want to know about. And with that being said, they're going to come to my site. As long as I give it to them, they're going to come to get more. And that's what G-Pass is about, and that's what Global 14 is about.
What's the significance of the number 14?
That's JD in numbers.
Okay, because I remember life in 1472. It's been
it just stays the same. If you know me, I've been using the same thing for the longest. Yeah,
exactly. I always wanted that, most definitely. Speaking of that, man, I know you. When did you decide that you actually wanted to be a rapper? Because I know for a long time you were against it.
Well, it's funny because I'm saying I started as a rapper on the Fresh Fest.
Right.
So I don't know if I was ever against it. I just was really trying to. I'm a person that, I think this is a Virgo trait. When I do something, I want to finish that.
Okay.
If I'm eating, I want to finish this before I go get that next piece of food. So that's how I look at it. I want to be a producer. I want everybody to respect me as a producer, so I'm focused on that. I don't care what else I could do. I could have played basketball and everything else, but when I focus on what I want to do, that's what I want you to focus on. Just like me DJing. Once I said I was going to be a DJ, I'm full-fledged a DJ. I'm in Vegas every week now. Yeah. Every week is 2 weeks. And people like, JD, you out in Vegas? Yes, I'm a full-fledged DJ. This is what I do. I want you to pay attention to this. This ain't for play. I'm doing this shit as full-fledged as it's going to go. I want you to know me by the tomorrow night. I'm on the Blackish and I'm DJing on the show. I'm not playing. I am playing a record mogul, but I'm playing a DJ. I'm DJing Dre's birthday party.
Right.
So, stuff like that. I'm just pushing when I start doing something, I try to push the envelope of what I'm trying to do. So I think before me rapping, I just was like, I'm a producer. Don't worry about if I rap. I make beats. Don't worry about if I rap. So
Gotcha.
Then Brat, we was rapping back and forth when we made Functified, and Brat was just like, you should stay on the song. I'm like, man, I ain't staying on this shit. And by the way, when we made Functified, I had so many records that I was rapping on. That I was just making play songs. Like, I just be at the studio making play records. And people be like, you should put this out. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm just put on my little mixtape. I had my own mixtape that I listened to myself. I wouldn't give nobody.
Do you feel like you're A&R in the crowd when you're DJing? It's like what skills that you take from, being the executive producer, label owner, A&R to apply to DJing?
No skills that I'm learning. I'm taking on. I'm teaching myself. What I'm teaching myself when I DJ is to be a non-hater, because as the older you get,
oh man,
listen, because the older you get and you be in the music business and you come from different places, like where I come from, the music's different. But if you a DJ, you can't analyze the music the way she just analyzed Anita Baker and Trey Songz. You got to analyze the music as one. You know what I mean? If Trey Songz is whatever, this is a new hot record. Flick of my wrist, that shit hot as hypnotized in my mind when I'm DJing. If I'm on the street and you want to have this conversation with me and you say, yo, Flick of the wrist sounds just as good as hypnotized. Nigga, what the fuck is you talking about? Right? That it'll send you into that world. Right? You start going into the Biggie was the best, and like when you DJ, man, you ain't got time. I ain't got time for all that. Who the best, and this, that, and the third. I'm playing Snoop Dogg. I'm playing Juvenile. I'm playing Puff. I'm playing this person. I'm playing everybody, and that makes you a music lover once again. Because it was times when I was getting away from that, where I was becoming a person that was like, man, these little niggas, this shit's terrible.
A hip hop purist?
Yeah, like you want to just like. You just want niggas to sound like Biggie and Tupac and Jay-Z and everything else that don't sound like that. You mad as a motherfucker, right? You got to get out of that world, man. And DJing helped me. DJing completely helped me not be in that world. It makes me just more pure person about music. So if somebody asks me a question about any new artist or anybody, I could just tell them flat out, like, yeah, his record gonna pop off. By the way, and what it does is, you can't lead nothing if you ain't out in the motherfucking streets doing it. This music that we make is for the streets. It's for the people in the clubs. It's for all of that. And as far as I'm concerned, once again, I'm against myself because I don't see not one CEO or none of these guys in no clubs where I'm at. None of them.
Yeah.
Right? And, ultimately, knowledge is what makes you a king. So until, they can act like they don't acknowledge it, and people probably listen to what I'm saying right now and probably say, this nigga, he just go out all the time. Okay. but my knowledge that I have will be 100 times more than the next person that you're going to listen to.
Definitely. I remember seeing you spin, I didn't even know you DJ'd. I think you were doing Privé in Planet Hollywood, like,
yeah, that's when I first started.
3, 4 years. Yeah, I think I went to one of your first gigs there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was dope because you were, Vegas, finding a hip hop night in Vegas is like finding a winning lotto ticket sometimes.
Yeah,
like
over 100%.
It's difficult. But when you spin, because I saw you was in San Diego recently, Dubai, Boston, all over. You don't just do LA, Vegas like a lot of DJs do. Do you kind of temper your set for who you're playing for, or do you just fill it out when you get there?
Nah, because I've started that. I mean, what's crazy is I've been DJing in Vegas for 5 years now. People don't even they're not even paying no attention to that. I've been DJing full-fledged. I've been having residency in Vegas for 5 years. And that's another thing that I put into the universe. That's how I started. That's one of the really things I really realized, that when you throw shit in the universe, it's going to come back. Because I was in Vegas with Usher, and we was working on his album. And we went to the club one night, and I think somebody was DJing, and I was like, damn, they letting celebrities DJ now.
Was it Paris Hilton?
No, it wasn't Paris. It was before her. I think it was dude from Motley Crue.
Tommy Lee?
Yeah, it was Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee was DJing, right? And I was like, damn, they let Tommy Lee DJ? I'm like, man, I say, damn, yo, if I should get me a little, while we out here, I should get me a little job and shit at the club. And niggas laughing. Think you ain't gonna get, what you talking about? Get you a job? I'm like, man, it'd be crazy if I get a residency in Vegas. And I just said it, and I start thinking about the Rat Pack, Sammy Davis Jr., all of that, because them dudes had residencies in Vegas that lasted a lifetime.
Yep.
They stayed there for the rest of their life, right? And all of a sudden, JD got residency in Vegas. I've been there for 5 years, and it's the biggest my residency's been this year, going on, I guess, the 6th year. But I started at Planet Hollywood, like you saying, and I started seeing that people knew that I was DJing. They was coming to hear hip hop. They wasn't coming to hear no dance music and shit. They'll come to the DJ booth like, JD, when you gonna play Money Anything? I've been here for an hour. I done spent blah blah blah. I'm like, Money Anything? I ain't come to play my records. But then I started to start figuring out, like, they coming to see me.
Yeah.
So then I just started saying, going against the grain, once again, being against myself. All these DJs is doing EDM, I'm just gonna be straight hip hop. It's gotta be 3,000 to 4,000 people in this city that want to hear straight hip hop in a way that it should be heard. And that's what my night is. It's all hip hop.
That's dope, man. Reese asked you, did you take any of your music business stuff into the booth? I'm more curious to know, have you learned anything or taken anything from your DJ experiences when you go back to make records?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of times, one of the secrets that I always had, because I've been DJing first before. So one of the ways I always made records, and this is a tip that I'm giving out there, I always make my beats. When I make a beat, I make beats that I hear from mixes. So a lot of times, one record is playing and the kick drum is going on this record, and then the beat that's playing on this record is mixing. I'm talking about when you got perfect mixes, because I come from the days when, Jam Pony Express, Edward J. them, they was really mixing records. So you had to really know how to mix it. You couldn't, So when you really mix records and the beats and the tempo is perfect and the beats is hitting together, you will hear something that you'll never ever hear in music. Or somebody make one beat that sound this way, and then the beat that's going on this way is added to that beat, you start hearing different shit. So I try to go back and make beats based on that stuff that I hear in my headphones. Because a lot of times people don't even hear it like that. There'll be like 3 different kicks, so then you have to make a kick that's little, and then this kick is a little bit bigger, and you got to figure out when you make the beat, you got to figure out how to make them hear each other. Because if you make 2 kicks and they sound the same, then you won't hear the difference of what I'm talking about.
You know this shit is unfair, right? That you're bringing this into the DJ realm.
What?
That you know all this stuff.
Why?
Because it is, man. You killing people.
No, but I'm saying I
out here.
started as a DJ, though.
I know.
I think most producers say that same thing, though, that it's important to start off like a DJ so that you understand the music, so that then when you go back to produce the music, you know what it sounds like.
Well, I mean, for me, like he said, I DJ in a place where 75% of the audience is white. Or even 80%. Like, I just DJ'd over the weekend, and the whole crowd they looked like they was white. It was probably like a patch of black people right here. patch of black people right here. But for the most part, it's all white. So when I go up on the set and I'm looking out there, I don't actually know what to play. So that puts me in the mindset of when I first put out an artist, right? When I put out Bow Wow, right? At the time when I put out Bow Wow, everybody was telling me, Jermaine, lightning don't strike in the bottle twice. You made crisscross. You're not going to get away with that shit this time. And I'm like...
Get away with it like you would rob the bank.
I didn't know I was trying to get away with something. I think this dude is a little bit different than Crisscross. His appeal is different. He got a whole different thing. I'm going to put him out. People wasn't really paying no attention to it. So when I dropped Bow, even the record company, Columbia, they didn't know what that was. So I brought Bow Wow at this road show that Columbia had. And all I did was have Bow Wow come out, and he did the second verse from Bounce With Me that Brat wrote for him. And he actually was, flipping, doing the way she rapped. And the crowd lost their mind. The people that work at Columbia, they was, yo, we need him on the rest of the tour. I'm like, you do realize I've been talking about this artist for like the last month. And you guys looking at me like Crisscross, I'm trying to do Crisscross again. So what I mean by that is it's the same feeling. Like, I don't know if the people gonna like it. So me picking a record by looking at you and playing that shit and the crowd go off is the same feeling I get when I drop an artist. So I don't know if I'm bringing anything in. It's just kind of like the same thing.
I've seen a couple videos that you put on your Instagram and YouTube and stuff. You seem like you're genuine, like it's the first time every time.
Oh yeah, it is 100%. DJing is not easy, man, because you can't, like, if you care, I care about what the reaction. I care that if I ask you that it's your birthday tonight, I want you to show me, give me that's your birthday. I'm going to give you everything that you need to make your birthday 100% the best birthday that you ever had that night. That's just what I'm trying to do. And you can, as a DJ, you can dig in your bag, you can go find records that people really love. You just got to really be into it. Some DJs just shortchange you and just hit you with all the new music, and they don't give you that journey of life. My mind don't think like that.
Do you do the 25 and older? Put your hands up.
No, I don't do that. I have done that.
And what did you play? Please tell me you didn't play Frankie Beverly and Maze like everybody else.
I can't play that.
You can't play that in Vegas.
That's too black in Vegas. I do that. I have done that. I did that. Matter of fact, I did it in San Diego. Because the crowd, and I only do that when it looks like, by the way, I only do that when it looks like it's a bunch of 25 and older niggas in the crowd. For real. Because you could tell them they a little different.
Yeah.
When I play like Migos or some shit, you can see it in their face. They like, JD, I don't know if I came to see you play no Migos. And I'm like, this the new shit, dog. You gotta. But then I could see that they ain't really, you know what I mean? They get a drink or something. I'm like, he ain't. Let me go on. Who 25 and older? Yeah. And they go and put their hands up. I play Poison every time.
Right,
I play Poison because that's that generation is that's it. Bobby Brown, BBD, all of that. I only play one record though. I'm gonna give you Poison. And then I give you a Michael Jackson set because I feel like Michael Jackson transcends all age. Yeah. But the 25 and older crowd at that particular point in time, they are really, really happy when they hear Michael Jackson.
Now, a couple of minutes ago, you brought up, the difference between beats and whatnot, man. I saw something blip on the radar not too long ago about you bringing to light that you think Sierra's I Bet sounds just like Usher's
It does.
You Got It Bad.
No.
Yes, it does.
No.
Yeah.
It does. I listened to both of them today back to back.
Listen, it don't even just sound like it. It's 100% taken from.
Can I say this and you let me know if this, because I've never made a beat or a song in my life. But when the whole Blurred Lines thing came up, when you brought that up, to me, you can say chord changes and all that. It's like me taking a Jordan 3 and moving the Jumpman to the right a little bit and taking the elephant print and reversing the print and saying this is a brand new shoe. Is that essentially what it is?
Well, see, I think that I want to clear this up to people. A lot of people they think, or they say, "Oh, he needs the money." I don't need the money from Sierra.
I mean, the song ain't made that much money.
But I'm just saying, that's what people. Yeah, he needs the money. He trying. Listen, I wrote "You Got It Bad." This is why I want people to understand. Anybody that hears this and they got something to say, when you write something. A lot of you don't even have shit that people even care about, so you wouldn't even understand what I'm talking about. But when you write something that people care about, and you know how you like, I sang it. Like, this is the difference. The way Usher sounds on "You Got It Bad" is how I sang it. When I sing something with my cadence, I can immediately tell when somebody is trying to do the exact same thing. Mm-hmm. You hear, you got it bad. I bet you still not it. It's the same.
Oh, okay, I hear you. Yeah, I get it.
It's the same cadence. Okay. When you're, not even the music, we can take the music out. The way she's singing the song like me. And we can move Usher out of it. I wrote the song, so we can remove Usher. So people will be clear. I sang the song to Usher. This is what you need to sing. When I do that, I can immediately hear what somebody else is trying to do. Oh, you got that from me. That's what you did. And by the way, I wasn't, people saying I attacked Sierra. I'm not attacking her. I wanted the guy who was doing the interview to understand how frequently this happens in our music business.
Yeah.
So I brought him to a relevant, speaking of the word relevant, situation. So we can be relevant, so we can understand how frequently this happens. This happens all the time. Not just with me, it's probably somebody else sitting there saying the same thing.
I mean, hell, I know somebody person that said Sierra stole one of their songs.
Yes, I was just about to say that. I was just thinking that.
I mean, you know, like I said, I don't want to. I mean,
The princess is here.
We all are influenced by music. I'm influenced, and most of the time, my influences get put in records. They get paid for it.
Yeah,
That's the difference, and that's what I had to say about Pharrell's. Is because it was interesting to me. Is because when I heard Blurred Lines, immediately I said,
Marvin Gaye.
how the fuck y'all get away with this? Right? I left it alone because I'm thinking just like when I make records, it's the same thing. Like obviously somebody they done paid somebody off. They got it's a dude. When you find out that ain't happened, then you like, damn, how y'all do that? How y'all let that song get that far, make that much money,
right?
And y'all like that's crazy to me. So for me, like I said, it wasn't really me like having a goal to get at Sierra. It was just like, yo, in the situation of today's music industry, I just heard a song that feels like something I did.
Gotcha. You mentioned Bow Wow earlier, man, and he just turned 28, which is crazy. Makes me feel incredibly old. and got a seed, got a little girl, man. How does it feel to see that dude grow up into a man, like a family dude?
It's interesting to me. It's sad though that he's inheriting the same Jermaine Dupri problem.
That's your fault.
No, because I really wish he didn't have to inherit that, because people don't pay attention to Bow Wow's career either. I mean, Bow Wow has had probably the most remarkable career in hip hop that we will ever see. Like, he started at 11. I put out Bounce With Me at 12 years old. He was 12. He sold 3 million records when he was 13 years old.
Hell, he was in the Gin and Juice video before that.
Yeah, he was in the Gin and Juice. He was signed to Death Row at 6. This is what I'm saying. Like, he went from that kid to, I mean, by the way, his tour, he sold out Phillips Arena twice. He sold out Madison Square Garden 3 times by himself. This shit ain't happening, man. Like, nobody, Migos, any of these new artists that you want to, I'm not pointing, I love the Migos, so I don't want to sound like I'm throwing it at them. Any new artist in the last 10 years has never done what Bow Wow's ever done in his career. And me saying that, people be like, nigga, you, nah. And still today, like I put someone on Instagram about this the other day when we was doing his, because he's on CSI now, right? So he's 28. He's the same age as Drake, right? Drake ain't had the career that Bow Wow had. Drake is hot musically, but Bow Wow starred in a movie that was his movie. Like Mike, he did $50 million at the box office when he was 13 years old. 13. $50 million. He done did 8-9 movies since then, and now he's starring on a TV show that's on CBS. And he's starring. He's not a guest appearing. He's a star on the show. Every week you're going to see this kid. I don't know nobody else that's had a career like that. And Will Smith not either. Will Smith's career is big. He had a big, crazy career. But Will Smith, when Will Smith was Fresh Prince, they never did their own tour. He didn't have his own movies when he was Fresh Prince. Bow Wow's had all of that shit when he was a kid going into this now. It's amazing to me. But it's sad that he's inheriting the Jermaine Dupri problem where people just look at it like it's nothing. It's got to be some kind of common denominator there. Maybe y'all don't toot your own horn enough. I don't know what it is. You know, when you toot, like even me saying this on this show, y'all gonna get a whole bunch of motherfuckers. Yeah, fuck that nigga. Okay.
But it's true.
But it's true. There's nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I'm not lying here. I'm not sitting here making nothing up. I had to sit back and look at it myself. I'm like, damn, Bow, you had a crazy career, dog. So you know what I mean? And he waited till he was 28 to have a child.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It might be out of wedlock, but it still was a lifelong career.
And when you said the Jermaine Dupri problem, I thought that's the direction you was going in at first.
Because, I mean, I felt like, even with Jermaine Dupri, I feel like I said, I talk to myself, and I want my life to be a masterpiece. And you put things out in the atmosphere. Like, I have always said that a lot of women hate this statement, though, that I wanted a colorful family. Because I don't believe that, you know, one race can teach you. It's like one of my idols is Quincy Jones, and he has a colorful family. Like, he has a white woman that he had babies by, black baby, this, that, and your life becomes a little differently, right? And I might sound crazy by saying this, but I always wanted that. So yeah, my baby situation, it ain't go like I wanted, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, I have always thought like, yo, I'm probably gonna end up with a colorful family. But I'm getting a little old too. I don't know if I'm gonna make that now.
I just saw that you put on Instagram, man. Your daughter just went to her prom.
Oh
right?
yeah, that killed me.
You looked happy?
I look happy. You
Yeah.
ain't seen no pictures of me.
Well, yeah, they looked happy.
Yeah, they
looked happy.
Yeah,
you was over in the corner frowning.
I was in Vegas. I wasn't even here.
Oh,
I was
okay,
in
got
Vegas,
you,
and I
got
was
you,
like,
got you.
oh
He
my
was in
God.
Vegas shining up them pistols.
Yeah, I was in Vegas, but it was cool. You know what I mean? Like, through her, I'm living because I never went to prom. I don't even know what that's like. So
You
she was so excited
busy
about
selling
it.
8 million records.
I was getting. What was I?
Yeah.
When is prom?
17,
6,
18?
Yeah, by then I wasn't even thinking about prom. But yeah, I never got a chance to go. So her excitement to go, like she was calling me about, Dad, you gotta make sure I got a truck. You gotta make sure I get my hair done. I'm going to get my nails did. I'm like, why are you doing all this like a day before? What's going on? And she was so excited, and I just was like, I sat back like, oh man, okay, I don't know what this is. I'm just gonna enjoy this from afar, you know.
Did
And it
you
was crazy
speak
'cause
to
she
the
ain't
little
put
dude?
No, I ain't speak to. I didn't want to speak out because I feel like fathers, if we pay attention to the guy, that's when he think he's something. Me, I'm not paying attention to you. I don't want you to think you nothing. You don't exist. You just going with her.
That makes sense, though.
That's a crafty tactic.
You just going. You're not even. You don't
You're
make
an
no
accessory.
sense to me. Now, when you become making sense, that's when you got a problem. He should feel comfortable that I ain't even asked. You know what I mean? Like, it should be comfortable. Like, yo, your dad ain't asked me. Okay, cool. I'm good. I could have a dance tonight or whatever. Whatever it is, I want her to know that I felt like this was more about her.
Okay.
You got an escort. The other guy's escorting you. Let him escort you. Make sure you straight. But this your night, right? And it's funny because I was on. I'm so into tech, and her mom not really into that like that. So she got Instagram, but her mom don't know nothing about Snapchat, right? So my daughter was posting stuff on Snapchat. They was crunk as hell in there, dude. I'm like, damn, they playing all this music at y'all, they cussing and shit. And I'm like, what? At the school? Cool, watching this. And it's on Snapchat, so the parents can't see it. I'm looking, I'm snapping. I know my daughter seen it. So as soon as she came out, she was like, I'm all right, you know, that's all good. We ain't going no after party. I seen you looking at me, dude. I'm like, yeah, you damn right. It's crazy because it's just a funny situation when you have a child and then they start doing that shit and they start listening to the same music you listen to. They was in the car going, they playing Drake. I'm like, oh my God. I want to call the driver like, yo, act like your radio broke or something. But no, it was cool. It was cool. Just and I told him Bow, I was telling Bow, like, yo, that's gonna be you next, yo.
Yeah.
You gonna have to deal with that same situation.
Did he go to that stuff? Was he busy too?
Bow Wow was a multimillionaire
Nah,
by the time
he definitely didn't go to prom. He don't know what prom is.
Bow Wow was probably had a 25-year-old woman when he was 17.
He was on tour. He never even went to like he. I think Bow Wow finished school though. I didn't. He finished school.
One thing I'll say is he's probably the most well-adjusted, famous young kid we've seen.
That's because of me. I'll beat his ass if you know. Straight up. This is and that's another thing that makes me feel bad about Chris Kelly because I am that person to these people, and I could have been that person to him. You know what I mean? It was just unfortunate they was at the front of the line of this long ass line that I had to deal with, and once I got to doing it, I couldn't come back and catch as easy as it, and I never kept crisscross guys with me. They was much bigger than Bow Wow. They sold a lot more records than Bow Wow. So the dynamic of our relationship was a little different. They was more like superstar musical, and Bow Wow's always been like my son as opposed to his career being that big. So
I think it's a little different though because I mean the separation between those two sets of careers is like a decade apart.
Yeah, it's a decade apart, but
so
I mean,
you was much younger when you had them.
Yeah, but Bow Wow never had a song as big as Jump. When you have a record as big as Jump, the dynamic of your life is in a different place.
Yeah.
Like that song is like the most karaoke record in karaoke.
Right.
Like if you're gonna have a black record come up on the karaoke screen, it's gonna be Jump, or it's gonna be Wild Thing, or it's gonna be one of these type of records.
They got into that lexicon.
Their record was so huge that, you know, these niggas was on tour with Michael Jackson. They was doing shit that nobody ever gets a chance to do, right? So that took them away from me, because a lot of times they was gone. I was still at home working with Escape and TLC and this, that, and the third, trying to get everybody out. Like Crisscross found Brat on tour, on their tour,
Chicago, right?
Yeah, I didn't find Brat. They found her and called me and told me. So they was out working and I was out working, and we just wasn't never like together like we was when we first started. And that's why, I feel like that.
You said about Crisscross, you said it about Bow Wow. I know you said it when you heard Escape sing. When was the last time you ran into or saw that artist where you knew immediately they had that it?
It happens a lot. I got 2 new artists. I got this new guy named Guy from Chicago.
You signed God, Charlie?
Yeah.
Hey,
We
God,
talked
be
about
snapping,
him on the
bro.
show.
Hey, we
played his records like maybe 6-7 months ago.
God
on the
is
show.
serious, man. God, I seen his videos and I seen the look in his eyes from his videos, and it scared me because it made me really, understand that I wasn't doing enough, because this kid is in Chicago. He don't got the resources that I got. He don't have the money that I got, and he really out here putting himself out here, and he doing everything that he could do with what he has, right? And when you look at that and you see that, and then you see the look in his eyes, he don't look undetermined. He don't look like the fact that he don't have nothing is beating him. He look like the fact that he ain't got nothing is fueling him, right? And I learned something from that, from watching him. Then I got this other girl that I found from Seattle, this white girl that I found her on Global 14, and she sent me like the illest message. She sent me a message saying, if you sign me, I'm gonna blow up. And I'm like, I'm looking at the picture, by the way. So you probably saying I see a bunch of messages like that.
Yeah, is that easy?
I'm looking at the picture. It's this real white girl, like 100% full white girl. Not a white girl that's trying to act like she's black.
Not the
white girl that's got the black boyfriend. Straight Jewish white girl. I'm looking at the picture, and I'm like, is this a joke? Like, why you send me? I'm looking at you and this message. Why are you sending me this? What? And I'm thinking like, because this was the beginning of Iggy blowing up and this, that, and the third. So I'm thinking like it's a joke. Now I listen to the girl music, and I'm like, something's wrong right now. Like, this can't be for real. It was so mind blowing that I had to fly her from Seattle so I could see that it was for real.
Singer, rapper?
I don't know what she is. She sings, but she sings like a rapper. And she writes all of this crazy ass music. It's crazy. It's just really crazy. And I'm gonna name her album. What's the dude? What's the HBO show?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Nah, the
Bill Maher.
Jinx.
Nah, what's the show?
Sopranos.
Nah. Huh?
How to Make It in America.
Nah, what was that?
Hung.
Nah, what's the dude that sell the dope, but he ain't look like he sell dope.
Oh, you talking about, that's on
Showtime?
AMC.
You talking about Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad. Yeah. That's what I'm naming her album. I couldn't even think of that. I'm naming her album Breaking Bad, because when you see her and when y'all hear what the fuck she talking about, y'all gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? Because I'm like, what's happening in Seattle that I don't know about that's making you say this shit that you saying on these records? And you look the way you look.
Now I want to hear it. Most definitely, man. So
is it still on Global 14? Is it up there?
No. The music, she never put the music up.
Oh.
She put a link that I could hear. She never posted the music.
And you notice he ain't say her name. Smart guy. So, yo, we appreciate you coming through. We're about to wrap up. Obviously, everybody should know that Jay Warhol on Instagram.
Yeah.
Where else reach you on Global 14? Is there anything else we should touch on before we get up out of here?
Just, like I said, I think that one thing I want people to know about me is that I'm definitely not the person that people want to make me be, right? I think that that's another thing that I have. I have a curse of people wanting to make Jermaine Dupri be da-da-da-da. You got some niggas that want to make Jermaine Dupri old school. I'm not going to be an old school nigga for you guys out there that want that. That's not going to happen. I'm not going to be the dude that's out here just a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? Like, people always like I think people should understand that my life is designed. I do what I think about before it actually happens, right? You know what I mean? So we didn't talk about none of the stuff that we say is bad, right? But for instance, just to give y'all a good, clear mindset so people don't think y'all didn't do what y'all had to do as interviewers. When people heard that my house got foreclosed, right? Niggas was like, these niggas, he got his house foreclosed. What niggas don't understand about a house like that is that if you don't live in the motherfucker, right, it's just sitting there, right? If it's just sitting there, why you gonna pay for it, right? Only houses going foreclosure when you don't pay for it. I'm sitting in Vegas, I got a big ass house in Buckhead, and I'm saying like, I'm not even there. I'm not there, right? So when I chose not to pay, I'm not gonna give you $400,000 this month because I'm not there. Should I give you $400,000 this month so that the people in the streets don't say nothing to Jermaine Dupri? This is $400,000. I want everybody at home to think about this. Let's just think about it for a second. If you're not at home and you're somewhere else in another city and you got a big ass house in another city, but you got to pay $400,000 for people in the streets just to think a different story, which one you gonna do? I don't give a fuck what nobody think in the streets. This is what I'm saying, right? You can think whatever you want to think. I'm not getting ready to give that. These are things that you learn when you get older. Like, young people make stupid mistakes, right? One of the stupid mistakes is that we do stuff like that to try to make sure our image stays right. That don't do nothing to my image. It just make people think what they want to think. They want to think that a man that's been in this music business as long as I have ends up going through situations like that, as opposed to, no, I got a residency in Vegas. I live out there. I make over $200,000 a month DJing. Talk to me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people got to get that out of their mind, because that's what they want. They want to trap me in that body. Like, nigga, this what you is, nigga. You know,
that's the nigga in the street voice.
You going? Yeah, that's the nigga in the street. Nigga, you going at Sierra because you need the money. Oh, really? Come on, you got me fucked up. But see, I ain't gonna get like you said I was. I ain't gonna be right, but I can be.
That's all
but I
last thing, and I don't think you guys have ever heard me say this. I consider you to be, just researching you, listening to what you do, and seeing your track record, do you consider yourself a genius?
I don't know. No. You know why I don't? Because I don't think I've done anything that nobody else couldn't do. I think geniuses do shit that nobody else can do. What I do is pay attention to what niggas ain't doing, and that's what I do. But everybody can do it. When Chris Cross was walking through the mall, anybody could have seen them and said the same thing I said, but they just didn't do it. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to writing and doing music, we can't find 10 producers that do the same thing I do, so we might say it on that level. And that's the one thing, that's the argument, that's the biggest argument that I have with everybody, is that on that level, maybe so. But then we in a world where people they'll fight you nail to tooth on this. If you said, like, let's bring up 5 producers right now, and they biggest records ask the same question that you asked me, and see what the result is be. And people be like, I don't want to hear that shit. That shit. Nigga, you just trying to make, I don't want to hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? It'll be that's what it'll be. So on that level, I think maybe so. But other than that, I think most of the time I just do like I said, I do what I don't believe nobody else is doing. And with that being said, it's just like air and opportunity outside. Everybody can do it. You just gotta, just like y'all in here doing a radio show. It's a bunch of niggas that probably want to do this, but don't have the heart to be in the building this late at night and doing this and sit here and do what they got to do.
No doubt.
It's just how you move and what you do.
Well, man, we definitely appreciate you coming through. Make sure y'all go to Global 14, sign up. Make sure you go to J. Warhol, see what this man is doing all over the world. And that was another great episode, man.
Thank you.
Back bangers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You listen to Day One Radio. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and all that.
Day1Radio.com.
There you go. And we'll see y'all next week.